My fiancée suddenly said during our engagement party. I only got engaged to you because the ring is beautiful. I don't want to marry you. She was drunk. I calmly replied, thanks for being honest. Then, right in front of everyone, I took the ring off her finger. The next morning, when she sobered up, her entire world had already fallen apart. Dear friends, please subscribe to my channel. It's very important for my encouragement. Thank you. I'm 29, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I'd been with Miranda for 4 years. We met through mutual friends at a rooftop bar in the city, and honestly, she seemed perfect on paper. Smart, ambitious, came from a good family. Everyone kept telling me how lucky I was, and I believed them. My parents loved her. My friends thought she was great. Even my grandmother, who hated every girl I'd ever dated, gave her approval. The engagement happened in June. I'd been planning it for months, saved up for nearly a year to buy her the ring she'd been hinting about. Not subtly, either. She'd screenshot rings from Instagram, send them to me with heart emojis, talk about cut and clarity ratings like she was studying for the GI exam. She had a Pinterest board called Future Misses that had over 300 pins, mostly rings and wedding dresses. The ring I bought was a 2.5-carat oval diamond with a platinum band. Cost me $18,000. More than I wanted to spend, honestly. I'd been hoping to use some of that money as a down payment on a house, but she'd made it clear that anything less than what she wanted would be embarrassing if her friends saw it. The proposal itself went fine. I took her to the same rooftop bar where we'd first met, had them set up candles and flowers, the whole romantic setup. She said yes, cried the right amount, posted it on social media within minutes. The post got 847 likes in the first hour. Her friends commented things like, finally, and that ring though, and you're so lucky. And honestly, looking back, I should have noticed that most comments were about the ring, not about us or our relationship. But I didn't. I was too busy being relieved she'd said yes, and that the proposal had gone smoothly. The engagement party was her idea. She wanted it at this upscale venue downtown, the kind with exposed brick and Edison bulbs and a cocktail menu that uses words like artisanal and housecrafted. The cheapest drink was $16. We invited about 80 people. My family, her family, our friends, some of her coworkers I'd met maybe twice. I footed most of the bill because her parents were going through a tight spot financially, which I later found out meant they'd just bought a summer cottage in Vermont but didn't want to contribute to the party. The venue alone cost $4,500, not including food, drinks, or the photographer she insisted we needed. Everything was fine until about 10 p.m. Miranda had been drinking champagne since we arrived at 7. I'd had maybe 2 beers, trying to stay relatively sober so I could thank people, make small talk, and play the gracious host. She was on her 6th or 7th glass, getting louder, laughing at everything. At first, it was charming. People kept saying how happy she looked, how radiant. Then it got sloppy. She started stumbling in her heels, talking too loud, interrupting conversations. She was standing with her bridesmaids near the bar when I walked over to check on her. One of them, Jessica, gave me this weird look, like a warning. Miranda turned to me, swaying slightly, and said loud enough for half the room to hear, "You know what? I need to tell you something." "Okay," I said, trying to guide her somewhere quieter. "Let's go outside and, no, I need to say this now." She held up her hand, the ring catching the light from the pendant fixtures above us. "I only got engaged to you because the ring is beautiful. I don't actually want to marry you." The music was still playing, some indie playlist the venue had. Someone laughed nervously nearby, thinking it was a joke. My uncle stopped mid-conversation and stared. I stood there, frozen, watching her examine the ring like it was the only thing in the room worth looking at. "Miranda, you're drunk," I said quietly. "Let's talk about this tomorrow." "I'm serious," she slurred, her words running together. "You're nice and whatever, but you're boring. Like really boring. You never want to go anywhere fun. You don't like my friends. I just wanted the ring. And the wedding. My cousin Bethany got married last year, and her ring was shit compared to this one. Like, literally shit. This is so much better." People were staring now. Her mom started walking toward us, her face red with mortification. My best friend, David, looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. My mom had her hand over her mouth. I felt this strange calm wash over me. The kind you get when something so surreal happens that your brain just shuts off the panic response. Thanks for being honest, I said. Then I reached out, took her left hand, and slid the ring off her finger. She was too drunk to really process what was happening. She just stood there, looking confused, like she couldn't understand why her hand suddenly felt lighter. I put the ring in my pocket, grabbed my jacket from the coat check, and walked out. Didn't say goodbye to anyone. Didn't explain. Just left. Update 1. I spent that night at David's apartment. He found me sitting in my car in his parking lot around 11 p.m. I hadn't even turned the engine on, just sat there staring at the ring in my palm, turning it over and over. He convinced me to come inside, made me eat leftover pizza that I could barely taste, and let me crash on his couch. I didn't sleep much, just lay there replaying the whole night in my head. The next morning, my phone was on fire. 63 text messages, 17 missed calls, voicemails from Miranda, her mother, my mother, random relatives, friends asking if I was okay. I ignored all of them except my mom, who I called back around 9 a.m. to explain I was fine and would talk to her later. She told me half the family had stayed at the venue for another hour after I left, nobody knowing what to do. Eventually, Miranda's friends took her home. Around 10:30 a.m., Miranda started calling repeatedly. I finally answered on the 7th call. "Oh my God," she said immediately. Her voice was hoarse, panicked, raw from crying or throwing up or both. "What happened last night? Everyone's saying you left. Where's the ring? Where are you? You don't remember?" I kept my voice neutral. "I remember drinking, and then everything's fuzzy. Did we have a fight? People keep texting me weird things, and my mom won't stop crying, and she won't tell me what happened." I told her, word for word, what she'd said. There was a long silence. I could hear her breathing on the other end. "I didn't mean it," she whispered. "I was drunk. You know I didn't mean it. Drunk people say stupid things all the time." "The thing about drunk confessions," I said, "is that they're usually the truth without the filter. Alcohol doesn't put thoughts in your head. It just removes your ability to hide them. Please, can we just talk? Face to face? I'll come to wherever you are right now. I'll get in my car right now. I need some time to think." "Time? We're engaged. We're supposed to get married in 4 months. The venue is booked. The invitations are ordered. What about the ring?" And there it was. Not, "What about us?" Or "What about our relationship?" Or "What about our future together?" What about the ring? "I have it," I said and hung up. Update 2. I took 3 days off work and stayed with David. During that time, I did something I'd been suspicious about for a while, but had always talked myself out of. I checked our joint credit card statement properly, line by line. We'd opened it 6 months ago, her idea, specifically for wedding expenses and shared purchases. I was the primary cardholder, but she had her own card with her name on it. Turns out Miranda had been using it for a lot more than wedding expenses. For $1,200 at high-end boutiques, $1,800 at a spa resort she'd gone to with her friends for a bachelorette planning weekend, $950 at restaurants I'd never been to, $670 at hotels, $2,100 at bars and clubs in neighborhoods we never went to together, all within the last 3 months. When I looked at the dates of some of those restaurant and hotel charges, they corresponded with nights she'd told me she was working late or having dinner with her mom or attending work events. I called the credit card company and got more detailed statements going back further. Over 6 months, she'd spent almost $15,000 on that card. I'd been paying the bill without really scrutinizing the charges because I trusted her. The bill came to my email. I'd glance at the total, pay it, and move on. I was working 50-hour weeks and planning a wedding. I didn't have time to investigate every charge. On the 4th day, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop near my apartment. Neutral territory. She showed up looking rough, no makeup, hair in a messy bun, wearing sweatpants and an oversized hoodie. She'd been crying, that was obvious. Her eyes were puffy and red. "I'm so sorry," she started immediately, before she even sat down. "I was drunk and stupid, and I didn't mean any of it. You know I love you. You know me." That wasn't me talking. "Do you?" I asked. "Love me? Of course I do. We've been together for years." "For years. That has to mean something." I pulled out my phone and showed her the credit card statements, the screenshots I'd taken. "Explain these." Her face went white. Actually white. "I can explain. $950 at Marcello's on July 18th. You told me you were at your mom's that night helping her with her computer. Who were you with? Friends. Just friends. Which friends? Give me names. She looked away, couldn't meet my eyes. It's not what you think. Miranda, I really need you to be honest with me right now because I'm about 2 seconds away from walking out of here permanently and you will never hear from me again. She started crying harder, that ugly crying where you can barely breathe. Okay, there was someone else. But it's over. I swear it's over. It was just a stupid thing that happened a few times. It didn't mean anything. My stomach dropped even though part of me had already known. How many times? I don't know. Maybe over 2 months? But it's done. Completely done. He ended it. Who? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. Tell me who. She hesitated, wiping her nose with her sleeve. Blake from my work. But he's nobody. He's married. It was just physical, and it's completely done now. He told me last week he couldn't do it anymore. I stood up. The chair scraped loudly against the floor. We're done. Wait, please. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. I'll do whatever you want. You didn't make a mistake, I said, pulling my arm away. You made a series of choices. You chose to cheat on me. You chose to spend thousands of my money on your affair. You chose to lie to me for months. And you chose to humiliate me at our engagement party by telling everyone the only reason you said yes was for the ring. I didn't mean that part. Yes, you did. That's the only honest thing you've said to me in months. Maybe years. I left her there crying into her hands. Final update. It's been 3 weeks. I broke the lease on our apartment, paid the penalty fee, and moved into a smaller place on my own. It's a 1-bedroom in a quieter neighborhood, costs less, and doesn't have any memories of her in it. Returned the ring to the jeweler and got about $13,000 back, which I used to pay off the credit card debt she'd racked up. I considered trying to get her to pay me back, talking to a lawyer about it, but honestly, I just wanted to be done with her completely. Cutting contact was worth more to me than the money. Miranda has been texting me every few days, alternating between apologizing and getting angry. She told her family and friends that I abandoned her over nothing, and that I was controlling and couldn't handle her having fun. Most people saw through it, especially after several guests from the engagement party started sharing what actually happened. Word spreads fast. Her mom called me once to apologize and tell me she understood why I'd ended things. She said Miranda had always been high maintenance, but she'd hoped marriage would settle her down. Turns out Blake's wife found out about the affair too. Someone from Miranda's office saw them together at a hotel bar and told her. She's filing for divorce. Blake got demoted at work when HR found out he was sleeping with a subordinate, which violated company policy. Miranda's been looking for a new job since her work environment became toxic, her word. She sent me a long text blaming me for ruining her career because if I hadn't made a scene at the engagement party, nobody would have been talking about her personal life. I found out from a mutual friend that Miranda's been showing people screenshots of the ring, telling them she dodged a bullet because I was cheap and wouldn't have been able to support her lifestyle anyway. The ring that cost me $18,000. The ring she only wanted me for in the first place. The irony isn't lost on me. I'm doing okay, all things considered. Better than okay, actually. I've been going to the gym more, spending time with friends I'd been neglecting during the relationship, saving money. David keeps telling me I seem lighter somehow, less stressed, like a weight's been lifted. He's probably right. I didn't realize how much energy I was spending trying to make her happy, trying to be enough for someone who was never going to be satisfied. Sometimes I wonder if I should have seen the signs earlier. But mostly, I'm just grateful she got drunk enough to tell the truth before I actually married her. That ring was expensive, but it would have been a lot cheaper than a divorce. Edit 1. A lot of people have been asking if I pressed charges for credit card fraud. I looked into it, but since her name was on the account and I'd given her the card, there wasn't much I could do legally. Expensive lesson learned about joint accounts. Edit 2. For everyone asking, no, I'm not interested in dating right now. I'm just focused on rebuilding and figuring out what I actually want, not what someone else convinced me I should want. Edit 3. Someone asked about the wedding venue and vendors. I lost the deposits on most things, about $3,000 total. The venue was non-refundable. Photographer gave me half back because I was honest about what happened. It is what it is.